This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains no spoilers, but does mention The Vampire Diaries, the Folk of the Air series, From Blood and Ash, ACOMAF, and Euphoria. For full list, please see show notes.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the YA literature and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. This is book 2 in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. She has a third one coming out, I believe next fall.
Fall 2022.
And this was very heavily requested by the listeners and y'all. Okay, Jess, okay, wait. Sorry, Jess, before we get started, all I want to say about this is that Jess called the twist as a joke, but it was correct. And that's all I have to say about that.
I don't even know if it was a joke. It was really like what was the plot? I go, what were we texting? I go, you said, oh, you're coming up to the big reveal. And I go, is the big reveal that he's the devil? Like, okay. Or is the reveal that she finds out he's the devil? Like, okay. And then you just said I called it. And I go, look, that was supposed to be a reveal. That was supposed to be I thought we already knew. I thought we had agreed upon it, that's what was happening. Is that supposed to be please let me know. Was that supposed to be a twist? Was anybody shocked it was all there?
I don't know. Was anybody shocked? I was not shocked. So I called that obviously very early on. And I also called that like she had been there before and that like she had been like, there was a memory thing going on as soon as she had her her first thing of like deja vu or whatever. She was like,
okay,
wait, this looks familiar, but I've never been here. It's like, okay, she's obviously been here before and did all of that. So I think it's really funny that between the two of us, both of us called like a huge plot point very early on.
I mean, would you consider that the plot?
Yeah,
that was the plot. Finding out that I don't feel like her finding out who the devil was like the reason for the storyline.
It's the betrayal. It's the lies. Well, okay. Listeners, y'all, I do not like this book. I'm sorry. I do not like this book. I will tell you why. Jess and I talked this out and we figured it out. So I do not like this book very much. There are points that I do like, of course, and I will point those out. But overall, I'm not a fan of this book, and it is because this book has everything that I love from everything I've ever read crammed into this book. It is too much. Let's take it off on fingers. What do we have? Witches, magic, curses, demons, hell, like circles of hell, the wrath, right? We have wrath, politics.
Like she's having to like use her, like I love that she's about that.
Politics, training sequences,
tropes,
all of the tropes, intense fingering, heavy petting, all of the things. It's all there, but it's all there. And it's too much. And like witches plots and like there's a dread trove situation happening with all the objects, the magical objects. There's just so much going on that I don't care about any of it.
It has all the things that we like. I mean, one of my notes that I was taking was the crone is giving me heavy surreal vibes. We love a messy girl. or person, like, spill all the tea, crone, but like the crone isn't spilling anything at the same time. It's, oh, riddles and secrets.
Oh, there's riddles. There's riddles. There's riddles. Oh, but love is very powerful. But love
love is the most powerful. Like, through love, all is possible.
Yes,
so
there you
love
go.
is like overseeing, like, love and power and anger and wrath and prideful and all that stuff. It's there. It's there.
All there. It's all there. It doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. They don't have chemistry. They don't have chemistry.
I figured out one of my toxic reading traits this week.
Ooh, tell me, please tell me.
So, while in between I was reading this, I think I had said on our Instagram live, I'm reading this. I'm going to start reading this book, The Pseudo Oblivion. I think it's some sort of fantasy read. Everybody's talking about it on Book Talk, but I'm going in blind. I like going into, it is not fantasy. It's a mafia romance. But okay, and I called it like chapter 1. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
The toxic trait that I've learned about myself, in addition to finishing this book this week, was my toxic trait is like, and maybe this is just because we're still like smack dab in the middle of Capricorn season, but I truly think that I was like, on my best day, could I land wrath? Absolutely. Like, I have this toxic trait right now where it's like, best day, could I get a Mafia Don? Bet. Like, I have this weird, like, the 4 days in the entire year that I have this overwhelming sense of confidence. I'm like, there's another, there's like a professional sports athlete romance that I had read a couple weeks ago. I was like, yes, absolutely. I could land a professional. So I finished this book thinking, and I even texted you, I go, I have more chemistry with Wrath than Emelia. And I was like, I need to simmer down. I have an overwhelming sense of that never happens, Laura, I can tell you, that all of a sudden I was like, I could land Wrath. Easy. Put me in any one of those gorgeous dresses that was described in this book. I'll get all of them, all of the princes.
So then, do you feel then you align most closely with House Pride in that situation?
Only today.
Only today.
Only today. Because, and I was thinking about it when Emelia was like channeling her pride, and she was like true bantering with Wrath in this episode, in this book. She was like, I'm going to use my feminine wiles. Like, I still really respected her when she, like, after they were hooking up and then she drugs his drink. And I was kind of like, that's what a Black Widow would do. That's what female lesbian, like,
Jude, that's Jude. Jude would do that.
Yeah. Like, Jude does, like, I was like, yes, like, oh, but like, really, I was like, you know what? Finally, you're doing something that isn't complaining.
Okay. So we start off in the sin corridor, right?
What is that? Is it just like like basically like a metaphorical hall between realms, if you will? Is that how? Okay, so here's my confession. My toxic trait is that I didn't look to see if there was a map for this book because I did the audio. So I didn't look. I imagine that there is. My toxic trait, I didn't look. I'm sorry about that. My apologies. In my head, I imagine the sin corridor as like this tunnel that you have to go through to get to like where the underworld, like gates of hell and stuff are. It's like a testing ground, right? That's what I considered it to be. Yeah. But that whole sequence of her like being tested throughout the sin corridor just starts to illustrate the point that I made in our previous episode where I was saying that the tonal shift in this book is it's just so wildly different. And we get that right away in the sin corridor because, it is heavy petting in Kingdom of the Wicked, but it is way more intense here, like sexually, but descriptively, but also there's like cursing and stuff here.
There's like some F-bombs and stuff that weren't in the other one, just, you know, adding to the more adult kind of shift here. Wildly unexpected, I have to say. And I was like, whoa, when I read this the first time.
And it's interesting because this is categorized as a YA book. That's how it's, you know, and I feel like the first book was definitely YA. Nothing wrong with that. Like that's what that's what we love YA. But then to see that shift is, you're like, whoa. And to still be it's quote unquote YA the way ACOFAE is YA. Like it's not really YA, nor should this. I just, it's not what I was expecting. Like when I read a YA book, I'm not expecting smut. I'm expecting more plot and storyline, and, you know, not that we got much of it in the first book, or if we did, we didn't like it. But it's like when people try to say The Cruel Prince is spicy, like the series as a whole, and you're like, well, then you're not really reading The Cruel Prince, because it's a plot-driven book. And we just get, like, some spice for, like, as much spice as you do get in Queen of Nothing. So, or maybe, like, yeah, the Queen of Nothing. So it's just to have such a pendulum shift of tone and story. This felt more smut and some plot as opposed to plot with smut.
But here's the thing with the smut. If it isn't intense fingering, they're just like kissing, and that's it. And that's it, right? Tell me I'm wrong. There's some like dry humping at one point.
Yeah, and I feel bad for her. That has to hurt. The pants are always on.
Are they leather? Like
is it just like a fabric? Because that seems like it would be really uncomfortable.
She's like nude a lot when this is happening. It's just, I don't know. And then we get this is jumping. Sorry, like at the end, it's a fade to black. They talk about this whole thing.
No,
they build
commit.
this up. And then it's just nothing. Like, sorry.
You're not going to, like, you can't have, like, the finger fucking and everything in between, and then all of a sudden it's a fade to black. Like, no, commit. That's, if you went there for the rest of the book, why are we fading to black at the end? What are you going to do? Just start off the third book to say, like, oh, I'm going to pick up where I left off?
That would be a major tonal shift, and that would be in line with the pattern that we see here. I don't know. We'll go through the plot. I don't buy the chemistry. I don't buy that Emelia has this unrelenting, unending well of anger. She doesn't freaking do anything except bitch, moan, complain, and say that she's angry, and like steal stuff and sew stuff into pockets.
She said something in this book to Pride that we had talked about in, I think, the previous episode, where she goes, something Pride, when they're dancing, and she goes, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And what have I said about that? If you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy, you don't have a worst enemy. And here you are with like one of the 7 sin brothers, and you're going to tell me not one of them who's like willing to basically sell you off and like do things to you without your consent, without your choice. That's not going to be an enemy to you. Fuck off.
Yeah, the whole thing is wild. Okay, back to the beginning. Sin Corridor. She's tested for all the sins. She obviously wants to bang Wrath. So that is really all we get out of that. That's really all you get out of that. She's angry, and she wants, like,
she says she's always angry. I feel like the thing she's most angry about is not taking ownership and accountability of her own actions. She wants to be like, I'm mad at these people. You're still mad at why won't you accept the fact? And then there's a line where she goes, I know technically it's my fault, but like, we're not going to talk about that right now. Like, this is her internal monologue. And I go, that's exactly what you need to talk about, because you're the reason you're in this situation in the first place.
I'm cracking up myself because I'm thinking of the Harry Potter line.
Oh, Lord.
I'm just so angry all the time. What is that from? Order of the Phoenix? Harry's just like, I'm just so angry all the time. It's just like, okay. I get it. Why is she angry, though? she wants to find the person who murdered her sister. And she's just like pissed off at everybody.
She's pissed off at everybody, and she's like, and she keeps bringing up the fact that she's pissed off at Wrath because he's a mortal enemy. She brings that up again.
Demon.
Why?
Demon. I still don't understand why. Like, and I don't know. It's all just like, okay, wild. So what does she do? She gets to House Wrath after almost like freezing to death, right?
Yeah, she's in a hypothermic shock.
Yeah. So she has to be like brought back, and then she enters like court life in hell pretty much, and she's like, you know, the Wrath princess and like princess of House Wrath, and she starts like scheming and stuff, and she meets people, and Wrath cuts out a tongue, which is just another example of like it's all of the things, right? Like
Cass did that with the heart and the spine, and you know, I love I can't say this is a grumpy sunshine trope because she's definitely no sunshine. But I love I love a guy who's willing to take justice for his girl. you know what does Damon Salvatore say? He goes, the reason you don't, kill, I believe in killing the messenger. Why? Because it sends a message. That's what he does. He hurts he did the tongue thing. He had like an avalanche of rocks fall on the other guy. Like, I'm here for it. Do it. Talk shit about the person I love. I love that protectiveness.
When they said that Wrath brought down a mountain, I was like, what? What exactly does that mean? I was just
in what context?
In one context. I was very confused. And I'm only bringing this up because I'm going to bring it up a little bit later about another time that I was very confused about mechanics and context, because that's not the first time that happens in this book. It's just, I don't know. I found that just like kind of funny. He's just like, rah, I'm very angry. I'm going to bring down a mountain on you. But I do appreciate, again, ripping out of tongues. I like this. Jess, I said this to you earlier. It feels to me like this author was reading all of the things that everybody loves and decided to pull all of the things and then kind of like tweak them all so that they fit in line with the story, which is fine. Like, it's just fine. It just doesn't work for me. Like, so what is Wrath? He cuts out people's tongues, but he's very tender, but he's also an expert swordsman, but he's also the prince of demons because he's also Samael, because he's also like, but he's also
the same that can be said about Reese though too, because you have like a heart, like, when he's in the Hewn City, he's the, High Lord of the Night Court, but everybody in Valaris is like, la da 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 da, which is exactly what happens here with Wrath. That he has like these people who like his word is law and they try to test him, but Fauna's not terrified of him. Anir is not terrified of, like, the people who know him, just like the Inner Circle, they're not terrified of him. They're like, oh, that soft teddy bear, like, have you seen the way he's looking at you, Emelia? I'm pretty sure he wants like a different type of pie.
Well, that's an excellent point because he also has wings. He also wears black. He also has black hair. He also has, he has gold eyes. He also has tattoos that lets him like sense where Emelia is. He also flicks like lint off of his clothes, and he also puts his hands in his pockets, and he's sarcastic. Like, he's all the things, right? He's all the things.
And instead of the dimple, he always bites his lower lip.
Yeah, he bites his lip, and he grumbles. He has like a low, like grumbly voice. It's just
a timber, she said.
Yeah, and he's got like lavender tattoos. Like, purple's my favorite color. Like, on paper, I'm all in. So why don't I like this? Even the assassination attempt that Emelia lives through in the bathtub, and she stabs him, I was just like, Poppy. Like, this is Poppy. Like, didn't that happen to Poppy? Like,
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And like, that's where I went to too. And then she like doesn't do anything. And she's always going for her dagger, right? But she never
uses it.
She never uses it. And she goes for her magic, and then her magic is like blocked for half of the book because she stole the grimoire from Envy. From Envy. So like I don't know. Do I like that? Okay, so what do I do like? I do like that Emelia is absolutely questioning the way that she was brought up. I do like that she's like, why did everybody lie to me? What is going on? Like, why is everybody talking to me in riddles?
Poppy.
Like, yeah, exactly. And she's like, why did my grandma lie to me? Why can't I do these spells? I have been purposely denied the tools to make myself safe. She teaches herself how to like access her source and like do magic. So I like that a lot. Like there are aspects of her that I like a lot. I like that she owns herself. I like that she has so much confidence. I like her wardrobe choices. Do I need all the pages of descriptions of wardrobe? No, there's just a lot of them. There's just a lot of dress scenes, which is,
the dresses reminded me of Elleren's dresses her aunt would give her in the Black Witch Chronicles.
Absolutely. And like, I love them, and I would love to see like fan art of them. There's just a lot of those scenes. They replaced the cooking scenes with the dress scenes, but then they still kept some cooking scenes. And it was just like,
there's 2 cooking scenes, and I think it was just because, like, I'm hungry, I want food, where they were talking, well, first they were talking about, like, the different courses, and it reminded me of when you went to that place in Barcelona where it was, like, a 14-course meal, and then they were talking about, like, the different carpaccios, and then she was talking about, like, fresh garlic bread, just, like, roasting the garlic and pressing it on as it's jam. Like, editor and Sam and I, like, we are, like, trash for garlic.
Yes.
So we were like, I was imagining that, the scallops in like the bacon. I was like, that was delicious. It was delicious. Why? Now I want this meal. It doesn't exist. I mean, it probably does if you know a chef, but I'm not a chef.
So Jess, tell me, what do you love here? Do you love something here?
I don't want to say I love it, but I will say I like it better than the first book, because the first book I just felt like everything was drawn out. What I realized why I like it as overwhelming and all tropesy and blah, 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 because I didn't feel like there was a plot. I think that aligns with how I used to read romance books. I knew what was, I guess the plot. Like, same thing with romance books. You know what's going to happen. Just like any, like, Lifetime, Hallmark, whatever. You know the story. You're still just like, well, I guess I'm along with the journey. I know what's going to happen. Because when the quote-unquote, like, big reveal spoil happened, I was just like, well yeah. Wait, we're supposed to be surprised? It's just like in a romance book. Oh, the couple got in a miscommunication fight? How do they resolve it? Oh, they're together at the end of the book. I think that was why it was very formulaic, and that's talking it out. Like that's what it was. It was formulaic. I know A plus B equals C. And like, I know I've like joked about you with like, my therapist had been like, yeah, Jessica, you have control issues. And I go, no, I don't. Like, you do A, you do B, it equals C. Like, C is the result. And he goes, but what happens when C isn't the result? And I go, well, that's how you do A and B for. And he goes, that's how I felt like this book was. I got A plus B and I got my C. And the C was the control, like, it was my controlled variable that I knew was going to happen. I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, wasn't surprised. Wasn't surprised that Victoria is still alive at the end, which is like waiting for that.
She should be pissed, though. I would be pissed, too. I've been grieving. I've been I've been upset.
I love that. No, that was great.
That's when she was like, holy shit. Like, as she should be. I've been going through, and she's been alive this whole time. Like, bitch, do you know what you put me through? Our family through? By the way, where the hell is her family?
Yeah, Jess, that was a really good point that you made. They keep saying, like, oh, her family is, like, they're safe. They're safe in the other world. Like, yo, how do you, like, know? You just kind of were like...
Her family literally said, hey, by the way, you're a witch. We forgot to, like, her Nona wasn't coming down looking for her. Where is anybody? Are they looking for her? They're just going to be like, oh, you're going to deuce out with Satan himself.
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm very loud this episode.
It's just, okay. What is it? It's just, you know what it is? It's going for Elfhame Court vibes with Court of Nightmare vibes. That's what it's going for. But it's coming out not that. And I don't know what it's coming out as, but do you know what I mean? Like,
even the end. Oh my God, I just thought of the Elfhame, like the end where she's like, I'm going to go to the such and such aisles. Is like, remember when Jude goes to like Nicasia and her family? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what that is.
It's just because they're in hell, right? So like it's supposed to be, everyone's supposed to be like wild and demons and like a little bit scary and like, you know, aligned with sin and like.
See, but in the first book, like that's what we know under like hell, quote unquote, to be. But in the first book, there is mention to say like where Wrath tells Emelia, you keep trying to say that like the princes of, you know, they don't even say hell. They say the princes of the wicked kingdom are evil and bad, but there is no evil or bad. It just is. And you're not associating me with these people. And we just are. I don't exist for good. Like, we just exist. So it's really the quote unquote mortal perception of what an underworld would be like. Because if you talk about Greek mythology, like Hades isn't hell. You know, it's literally just the afterlife.
I do like that hell is cold. I like that a lot. Like, you know, that's a good thing because my hell is being cold. So I associate a lot with that. The Feast of the Wolf, that's Roman. It, you know, is historical. It's a real thing. Very interesting here. It's a build up to a party, right? Like, basically, this whole plot is get her to hell. And by the way, there's going to be a party in like a couple months. And when you get there, we're going to wrench a fear from you. And she's afraid. A
fear or a truth, but it seems like it's one and the same.
Yeah.
Like the fear is the finding out the truth or whatever.
Yeah. And she's afraid that she is going to get found out because she's on like the secret quest of vengeance, right? So like that is the plot. And then throughout that, she discovers like, you know, she's has deja vu and she's kind of like been here before and how.
Which was really like the deja vu, like since we both read it on audiobook. That was a cool audio experience.
Excellent audio experience. Yes.
It was echoey. Mm-hmm. You felt like you were like in this memory with her. I really enjoyed the audio experiences with some of that.
Very good audio experience when they cast spells too, with the voices when the spells are coming and when the skulls are talking too, very good. And in some of the tenser scenes, there are the music to build it up. So yes, very good audio experience. If you enjoy this book, you would really love the audio experience. It is first class.
Yeah, I think it added to the story. It made it more fun.
No, most definitely. So we don't have poppies in this book. We have like sleeping flowers, right? We have sleeping flowers. And this whole sequence during the Feast of the Wolf when when Emelia is given the horse and she's told to like go and she's on the horse and she's never ridden before and her body like takes over and it's like memories. It's like more or whatever. That is the moment that cemented like, okay, this is going to be like, this is what that is. This is that storyline. That's when it like cemented to me. And then the flower stuff was like, okay, she is going to betray the fuck out of somebody.
Right. Well, you know, and it's funny you say somebody. And what really bothered me, it just felt like a lost opportunity because we always talk about how specific wishes need to be. Mm-hmm. And she says something because at this point she's with Pride and she goes, I'm pulling out the book, a muscle in his jaw twitched as he jerked his head in agreement. Fine. You'll need to be more specific. And he goes, you make You may cross my lands twice without any issue from anyone who calls my circle their own. In exchange, you will not tell my brother about my slumber route. There. He glared down at his nose. Are you satisfied? And she goes, more than you can possibly imagine, Your Highness. What a lost opportunity, because she was like, I won't tell your brother. And he goes, you will not tell my brother. He has 6 other brothers.
Yeah.
And I was like, she wasn't specific. She's not going to betray like that. I was like, I knew that she was going, like, I was like, oh, she betrayed Wrath. But in that moment, because she wasn't so specific, that could have been that opportunity where she got him on her side, because he wasn't going to stop her. He's like, he's the king of hell, essentially. Like, of course it didn't knock him out for that long. And it could have been a twist for a reader to see, oh, it wasn't Wrath she was going to do. It was against somebody else. It could have been Envy to get the grimoire back. It could have been so many other opportunities because she wasn't specific. And that alone, I was like, I felt let down when, like, as much as, like, I know I had just said, like, yeah, like, give him the slumber route or whatever, just like seconds ago. I'm also like,
meh.
Yeah, because of the loophole that we're so familiar with other fantasy things that we've seen or read.
Other fantasy things that we've seen and read. There is a magic tree in this book that reminds me of Priory. So there's a magic tree, and there are, as I said, magical items that we have to find that here. And there's, again, just so much going on. So the tree in the blood forest, like, everything I've ever read is here for me. And it including
guys finishing.
Oh my God. including the jizzing in the pants. Just it's all there. That's 3. That's count 'em, 3 men now that have jizz in their pants. Just incredible. It's incredible.
I think there's a Lonely Island song called Jizz in My Pants.
Oh, I hope so. I think
there is.
That makes me very happy.
Show notes.
That makes me very happy. So, yeah. So, did you call that his name is Samael? Were you like...
No, but that's just because I'm not familiar with, like, religious studies the way you are.
It's just, yeah, it's just like...
I knew... But, what I also did think was him, like, he goes, you wouldn't just be Queen Wrath. You would be, like, Queen of the
like,
Wicked Kingdom.
Yeah.
I was like, so she's Lilith. Yes, no, kind of, because Lilith is kind of like his mistress.
Was that his first wife that died?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Unless the memories are of her as a first wife.
Probably, which is probably what it is, because she's been there before and she's lived all of that before.
Maybe she is.
And it's just a block, and she's his first wife, and that's the curse. That's what I'm thinking.
But is he blocked too? Because he says something about the first witch cursed me over or something.
No, I don't think I think he remembers, and I think that's why he is...
Like, that's the curse, is, like, making her fall in love with him all over again, but he can't say because he's not saying anything. And she's picked up on things that he goes, oh, the things that he's taught her is to know your enemies. And when she considered him an enemy, she read his body language. She did the work and researched him. Maybe that's it. It's her, like, that's like, that's the block, and he's just stuck and he can't tell her, so she has to figure it out on her own. And she actually is the actual queen.
That's what I was thinking.
I would like that. Maybe, I hope it goes in that direction.
Yeah. And then, which brings up, I also feel like that is why he is so adamant about consent and making sure there is no influence on her whenever anything romantic happens. And that, when she shakes her head, he says, no, I need you to say the words, like, look at me and say all that stuff. I think that's why.
I would like that if that's the direction it goes in.
Yeah.
I mean,
right?
Are we surprised if it does? No, but I'd be happy.
Yeah, it would make sense to me. I don't know. But, like, the whole thing with the sister and, all of that. I like Amir. What's his name? Anir.
Anir. Yeah.
Yeah, Anir. I like him a lot. I like his relationship with Wrath. I like just how he is with Emelia. I like how they like the teasing, and I like how he defends and is angry. He's a really great character, and I like Fauna. I like them. I like
Fauna is, you know, she's the better Claudia, you know, like she in the first book, Emelia was saying how like Claudia was, it almost seemed like they were more frenemies, if anything. They just like their kinship had more to do along the lines that they were they were the similar age, not so much actual friends. Fauna, she's the comic relief. Her and Anir are the comic relief. In this story, I like when they get to the party with the first night of the Feast of Wolves, Feast of Wolves, yeah, and there's all like the
tryst.
Yeah, the trysts and the voyeurism and all of that stuff is happening. And she says a line, she goes, "Who knew so many people could fit in a small chamber, let alone maintain that rhythm?" Like
that, or stamina. That's the real. Yeah, I was like, you know what?
That's like put
Speak
the small
the truth.
room aside.
Yeah.
I was just like, I love her. She's like, and Emelia goes, if she had a notebook right now, she would be taking, like, wouldn't we all? If we
had a notebook, we'd be taking notes. This is the point in the podcast where I'm going to bring up the second point where I'm talking about logistics.
We were laughing about it earlier.
Okay, so there is a spicy scene with Wrath and Emelia in the weapons room, and he has her like
night 2 of train, like the second train.
Yeah, he's got her like bent over, and he's like behind her, and like I was listening to the audio, and I had to stop it, and I was like, "What? What is going on here?" And then I was like really trying to like picture what was happening, and then I like hit play, and then I let it go, and I still have no idea how they managed whatever that was in the weapons room.
I rewound it because I was listening to it, same as you. I go, like, how is that working? Like, is he like?
Yeah,
I was trying. That doesn't seem very comfortable for anybody right now.
Yeah, anybody. Like, it was just so weird. It was just one of those things where, like, okay.
I like when different like authors come up on my FYP on TikTok and they're writing a romance scene, and there's 2 different types of significant others. You can see that they're either saying like, "Hey babe, can we, like, I need logistically, I want to see if this works." And you have the one significant other's like, "Yeah, you're writing one of those scenes, aren't you?" And then you have the other type of significant other who's like, "Are you writing another one of those scenes?" Like, you can tell what the relationship is. You're like, I you know, that's, don't you want to like try to logistically work it out and then be like, okay, that doesn't work, but maybe this works.
Oh man,
you would think, you know,
you
like scientific research.
Yeah, no, be enthusiastic. Jess, do you have a favorite scene in this book? Do you have a favorite message? Do you have a favorite plot line? Do you have a favorite?
Okay, well, I don't want to go with plot line because that's just out the window for me. But I was gonna say, I feel like the whole book was like chapter 48 vibes, in the sense, you know, and even 42. No, not 42 so much, but like her pleasure is his. It's not just about like her pleasure. It was her pleasure being his pleasure. Taking that to another level is the fact that she is recognizing her own sexuality and how it's like she's having to change how she was brought up from the way that we know currently of how sex is like okay for men and not for women. And she's like recognizing that this is a beautiful thing. Like, this is natural. This is blissful. I should be able to share this with somebody I care about and that I'm attracted to, which is like wonderful, like ownership of herself and her sexuality and her femininity. I love that there's this line that she goes, "There's nothing more dangerous than a woman who owns who she is and apologizes to no one," which is completely along the lines of like the themes that we love to talk about. And it reminds me of what's her face in Euphoria, where she goes, once you take ownership of who you are, like that's what scares people is you're not Cat. She goes, that's what scares people when you don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks. And so it's nice to see Emelia coming into that and saying, fuck the patriarchy.
Yeah, for real. For real. And Emelia also talks about how, she grew up with sex being very shameful too. She talks specifically about like shame and how she has a hard time with the idea that she can participate in sexual acts and not be, and she says this, ruined. She is still like living under that assumption that like she will be ruined if this happens to her, which makes her like unmarriageable, like in the mortal world, which is, something that she is struggling to let go of, which is part of her like acceptance of like who she is, where she is, what she is, all of that. So yeah, like there are aspects of Emelia that I do really enjoy. She's just like fuck all annoying most of the time. I don't like, am I alone in that? Yeah, probably, because people really like this book. But as I said, like she doesn't really do anything except complain about stuff.
When
and design shoes,
which are killer shoes. By
yeah,
the way.
great shoes, fantastic. They're in silver and gold. We get it. We get it.
You know how you're saying like as a whole, you're like, oh fuck. But there are aspects of Emelia that you like. I feel it's almost like me. It's the opposite of like, oh, fuck with Nesta. But there are aspects of her that I don't like. Like the same, but like we said, like I feel like a lot, or there, then you have the reverse of some people where people hate Nesta. There's so much Nesta hate. But then you have some people who can be like, who can say, but I do kind of like that she did X, Y, and Z. Like, I feel like you can kind of be, and again, that comes with different people's point of view and how they take on a character is, what do they get out of it? Do they see themselves in that character? And there were definitely different parts here. What was it when she was getting killed, quote unquote, in the tub, where she's like, I wasn't scared. I was annoyed. Like that just reminds me of you when you go, this is just an I'm not pissed, or I'm not scared. I'm just pissed. Like, you fucked up my day. Like, can we move on? Like, you are an inconvenience right now.
And she stabbed him, right? Like, she stabbed him and he made like a bloody mess and they tracked him down and stuff. But like, yeah. No, I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
So, okay. I want to be very clear that I love Wrath. I do. He's hot. However, he's sexy. He's powerful. Oh, yeah. I love it. He's just slightly boring to me.
And not even boring in the himbo way.
No, not boring in the himbo way. He just doesn't hit. He's not tortured enough to be like Azrael. He's not like...
Is he even tortured?
He's not like sexy.
Is that like an argument?
He's not banter sexy enough to be Castile. He's not powerful enough, really, or like he's trying to be Reese, but he's not Reese. He's not like 17, so he's not Carden. He's not, you know what I mean? Like he's
going through his own identity crisis.
Yeah, like he's got like all this, I don't know. He's just got all this stuff going on. So, and he's got the tattoos. I do like him, and I do like his restraint. I like aspects of his character. I like how he's powerful. So I imagine, I've seen no like discourse on this, but I imagine there's some like gatekeep, gaslight, girl boss stuff about him, like not telling her that she was engaged to him the whole time, this
brings up the Reese argument all over again. They were fated mates, all that stuff. But if there's this curse that we don't know about, that could play a factor. One. Mm-hmm. Number two, it goes back to like how he was so insistent about her choice. Like, I didn't want you to feel obligated to me, even though you started the damn fucking
she did
thing.
it. Yeah, like she did
like,
it.
Even though it's on you. And I like her loophole, though, too, where they're like, oh, you need to do, like, A, B, and C to, like, secure the marriage.
Yeah.
And she goes,
She's like, we can still
fuck.
but, like, we don't have to do the ceremony. Like,
I was like, go off, sis. Like,
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But he does make a point to be like, I would not have let it like get that far. There are ways to like give and receive pleasure without that happening.
We
it's
love
just
that.
like, we love that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But also, you know, it's just, I don't know. I'll read the third one. Obviously, I need to know where it goes.
I am excited. Okay. So whereas when I finished the first one, I was dreading starting the second one. Like I read a whole other book that I was trying to split time between just so I can put off starting and like, or not starting because I had already started finishing this one. But now I'm like, okay, I'll read the second book. I'll read the third book. Okay. Like I'm not dreading it. I'm just like, I'll read it when I read it.
Yeah, I'll read it when I read it. I want to know, like, I don't know if it's a resolution. I want to know, you know, how this, you know, carries on. I want to know, you know, she's going to be the queen of hell now. He's the, like, I love that. Like, on paper, I love that.
I'm looking forward to it more than I was Gods and Monsters.
Yes, well. Yes. Yes, well. I asked you earlier, I said, like, high praise?
Yeah, I said, whoa.
You said, whoa. Hey.
Let's not.
It's a jump to conclusions. Interesting book. Listeners, I would love a bulleted list of all of the reasons why you love this so much.
Give you a reason. To the reason.
And annotated bibliography. No, I would like to know. This was highly requested. Why do y'all love this? Please tell us. We would love to have a very healthy, very respectful kind of discussion about this. You know, please. Is it because it is literally all of the things?
This is an ongoing thing we talk about where when we say there's on paper, it is everything you want.
It's all there on paper.
This is like an ongoing thing. You're like, but what is it?
Yeah, but what is it? Again, I will refer back to our previous episode where I feel the same way about this that I feel about A Shadow Between Us and Deadly Education and books like that. So please identify the problem and tell me what it is. I do not like that I do not like so many popular books because I don't like being like the like weird one out, right? Like this just, I will not reread these ever.
I mean, you reread the Cursed, Kingdom of the Cursed.
Well, I reread both of them for the podcast, but like I will not reread them again.
But I think that's also interesting to note because you reread them and with like, okay, now I know the story. Maybe rereading them, I'll have a different take. Because remember, for me, with The Cruel Prince, I was just like, okay. And then I was just like reading it because I knew you liked it. And I was like, yeah, this is like, I need something to get through the ACOTAR hangover. And I go, but I wanted fantasy, but I didn't want anything heavy fantasy. And I was just reading to read it. And then I loved Queen of Nothing. And then we reread it and I'm in. Like once I reread it, it just had it, you know, I was able to look at it because I knew all the things already. So it's interesting that you have reread it and you're like, nope, this just kind of solidified that I still don't like it for the reasons that I don't like it.
And I don't want people to say it's like, oh, it's because like Laura doesn't like witches. I love witches.
No, that's your shit.
I love witches. But again, I'm on record saying that I don't like A Discovery of Witches. Like that is not my shit. So there, you know.
But just because it has witches doesn't mean you have to love, you know what I mean? Like I feel like there's, I'm sure there's, I love vampire. Does that mean I love every vampire book out there? I haven't even read like a 10th of the vampire books that are out there.
Yeah. So I just want to be clear. Just want to be clear on things. Just.
I have a question, maybe like end of episode question, if you will. I think I know the answer, but to kind of solidify with our readers, Wrath says a statement from, where he goes like a current poet. He goes, but it poses the question, reign in hell or serve in heaven?
Reign in hell, easily.
Easily,
no,
right?
No question. No question. Absolutely none. What about you?
Same. Absolutely. I was, you're going to worship me like a queen or I'm going to serve somebody else? Go for it.
Yeah. No question. I'll always reign in hell. My end of episode question to you is, what sin would you most align with on your normal day, not your best day?
Probably between wrath and gluttony. What about you?
I don't know. Wrath, definitely. I don't know.
I'm just thinking of gluttony because I think, and I'm thinking of the movie Seven, the 90s.
Yeah.
And how gluttony is perceived as like the really overweight person, which is what I really like in this book, is that they don't shift necessarily with that perspective. It was just being gluttonous over anything.
It's overindulging.
Sex, love. It's just overindulging. And I'm very much a all or nothing person, whether it's, the things that I love, like I'm not like, think of like Lady Gaga. I don't casually go see Lady Gaga. I've seen her over 50 times. Like I don't have one drink. If I'm drinking, I'm drinking. So I don't do, I know I don't do anything in moderation. So I think that's why it's like both of those. And we all know my temper.
So wrath, definitely, because I also have a temper. And then maybe greed, maybe gluttony, not sloth, not
sloth.
Not pride, I don't know. Where's the list?
Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride.
Yeah, not envy. Yeah. So greed, gluttony, one of those, but definitely wrath. Definitely wrath. Those are my sins. I would be interested to be tested in the sin corridor and see what would most align me.
Yeah, because that's something that it called to, like it takes out of you certain, but at the same time, when she was in the corridor, when she was just, after she had met Envy, she was very envious of whoever Wrath's past lovers would be. Oh my God! That's the other member. I know, I'm just putting it together. Like, the person that she was jealous of is herself.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not confirmed, but like based on us
it
talking
should
about
be. Yeah.
It would make sense. Like, she's like, oh my gosh, this person is writhing on him. I'm gonna fucking kill her. And like, he's like,
it's so vivid.
It's you.
Yeah. She's like, I feel like I've been in this room before. Like, it's her. It's absolutely her. It's absolutely her. Yeah. She's just having these memories. Yeah. Which is, yeah. Yeah. This is all I have to say. I have nothing left to say.
So thanks for listening.
Yeah, like
thanks. Sorry, this might not be what y'all were hoping. But we do take your suggestions to heart, and
we do.
We know as much as there were things that we don't like, there were things that we did like too. So please be kind with us. As y'all know, you feel free to follow us on TikTok. Laura's at ACOFAE Laura. I'm at ACOFAE Jessica. And you can also follow us on Instagram at ACOFAE Podcast. And feel free to leave a review on whatever social platforms are allowing reviews at this time that you listen to us. So thanks as always, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.